apparently also, too, a dry dock was being built here in the Charlestown Navy Yard. The dry dock was begun in 1827, and it wouldn't be completed until 1833. And so the restoration, the rebuilding of Constitution was delayed, not just because of funding, but it was delayed because they actually wanted to use this brand new dry dock here. And so USS Constitution is the very first ship to ever be brought into Dry Dock 1 here in the Charlestown Navy Yard.
A dry dock that would see Old Ironsides come back as she needed refitting again and again.
Welcome to our update on the Constitution, and I thought that being it was a holiday weekend, 4th of July weekend, I would break out the old girl. I can't think of a more fitting model for this time of year to work on. Just did a little bit of work. I had a little bit of time after cooking out and working on the car and doing all kinds of crap around the house. I thought I would do a couple steps, and that's how we're going to do this. And I said this before, this isn't a, we're going to work on this all the time until it's finished. It was never my intent. This is a project that it's going to be probably 3 years, 4 years, somewhere around that time period before I actually get it finished. This is just a retirement kit. I just work on it when I have a little bit of time and feel like it, because I want to do a good job on it. And I found out a long time ago, if you want to do a really super job on a kit, you just do it in little increments, and you always end up doing a much better job. If you're working on it constantly all the time, you get frustrated, and then you just get sloppy because you just want to get the thing done. And by doing it this way, we always for sure going to end up doing a good job, because the ship, it's iconic. It's definitely a landmark for our country. So it's a state ship, as the beginning says. Okay, so what I've done is I finally finished the ends back here on these observation windows here. We got the copper roof shingles on. I need to raise my camera up a little bit, I guess. And then we got the scroll work that's underneath the windows. We've got all that done in gold, and then the shingles in copper on both sides. So we finally got that all finished up. And then we got this back piece glued on, and we got it fixed. The fitment of this piece back here was really, really poor. I had a good 1/8 of an inch gap on each side of this, and it looked kind of silly. It's like, I can't have that. That's too big of a gap. I mean, somebody could fall right through that deckhand, so it's like, that ain't gonna work. And that's how it wasn't in real life. So I took the piece, and I had some real thin strip styrene, and just kept building it up, gluing it, gluing a layer, letting it dry, putting another layer, gluing it, let it dry. Just kind of build the sides up until it finally fit where it's touching the sides. The back is touching the sides, and I might go back and use a little Vallejo plastic putty to smooth it out even more, and then paint it the dark green. But that looks just a ton better. That was really bugging me, that huge gap. And that's why I wanted to get it fixed. It's like, that's not going to work. So we've got that taken care of, and it just looks a ton better. And then we've got the capstan on, and then we got the ship's wheel on, finally. So we painted that raw sienna and the capstan. And then we have some bright brass on the ship's wheel. That's Vallejo Model Air bright brass. And then we finally got our lines tied to the wheel to operate the rudder, so when we turn the wheel, the rudder works with the wheels. So got a couple eyelets glued onto the deck. We're on step number 9. Step number 9 is when we're going to be gluing a buttload of eye bolts to the sides. It looks like we got a few on the deck, and then we got our pin rails We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pin rails, and 1, 2, 3, 4 cleats, 5, 6 cleats. So I think what I'm going to do, because I remember as a kid, those plastic eye bolts, a lot of times they would break when you were rigging. And, you put a little too much pressure on it, you actually break the eyelet. Because, it's pretty thin plastic. And I'm really not going to go down that road again. I learned my lesson once. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Bruce's suggestion. Bruce it over a Mystic Modeler. He uses the jewelry eyelets. I forget what they're called for jewelry. But they're basically for jewelry making. My wife used to use them. She might even have some already for earrings and stuff. But those are metal, and they're eyelets, and they're just much more, I think, rugged than the plastic ones that come with this kit. So we're going to replace all these plastic ones with the metal ones. And I got color I got was old bronze, which is a blackish, copperish kind of look. I thought that would look real nice on here, more aesthetics than anything else. But I think I got about 300 coming. Oh, they're pretty cheap. Now I'm sure 300 is more than enough to do this ship. I don't remember the size, but they're usually real long, about that long, and we'll have to cut them down to size and then install them on the deck. But even though that'll take a little bit more time, cutting them all down to size, in the long run, it's way better, believe me. Because nothing more frustrating than to have a plastic eyelet break on you when you're trying to do your rigging. Then it becomes just a pain in the ass. So it's way better in the long run to use metal ones. So I've ordered those. My wife had some silver ones, but she didn't have enough. And I thought the antique bronze looked, I think that's what it was called. Old bronze, antique bronze, I don't know. But anyway, I thought it would look pretty cool on here. So those will be coming here in just a couple days. And we'll install those instead. We'll go ahead and use the plastic cleats. I can't recall having any issues with them. The pin rails, I do remember having some issues with the pin rails as far as the pins breaking, so yeah, I'm not too sure if I'm going to use them or not. I might maybe make some homemade ones that might be a little rugged, because I can remember these pins, I don't have one handy, but these pin rails right here, these pin rails right here, they are really delicate, and if you're not careful, they snap off real easy. And well, here's a better shot of one right here. They snap off real easy. There we go. And what I can do is go ahead and just cut all these off and drill holes and replace them with a metal pin. And then that shouldn't go anywhere. That might actually be better. And again, it's going to be more work, but in the long run, when we get to that point where we have to rig everything up, it'll be a ton better, because I don't have to worry about those itty bitty pins breaking off, because a lot of ropes get tied off on these, and it doesn't take much to snap one off, the pins. So yeah, I think I might take the time and do that. And being it's my retirement kit, I'm no rush. So if it takes me a week to change out these to metal, then that's what I'm going to do. So anyway, that's where we're at on the Constitution. Not a huge update, just a couple steps done, but steps that needed to be done to make the appearance of the ship look a ton better. And yeah, I think it'll be pretty cool. So I keep this thing covered up. Actually, what I do is I take the instruction sheet and just fold it out like this over the deck so no dust gets on there. It's lucky. It's large enough to pretty much protect the deck, keep dust off of it. So our next update on the Constitution, I have no idea, but it hasn't been forgotten, and we'll get back to it now and again, and hopefully at the end of 4 years it'll be finished. All right, take care. See you.